No more dancing. Now it's time for some sprinting. That is what Governor Christie is doing, because Governor Christie is somebody that wants New Hampshire is going to be his time to shine. It's a time to stand up and be counted. Governor Christie, welcome back to Fox and Friends.
Happy to be back. Good morning.
Hey, Governor.
Good morning to you. First off, I got to just bring you to the big debate right now on the right. People are still talking about Iowa, specifically Cruz and Trump going at each other. Do you agree with Donald Trump that Senator Cruz went below the line and should not be considered the winner of the caucus?
I don't think it ever helps after you lose an election to ask for a do-over. And so the fact is, elections are played. They're not being bagged. They're not easy. I've been through a lot of them. I've been through a number of them where they're very rough and tumble. What you do is you move on to the next one and you forget the last one. And so I don't think this is something that we should be wasting our time talking about when New Hampshire is 5 days away.
Well, I tell you, Governor Marco Rubio was very clear yesterday. He said, you know, Ted Cruz will do anything to get elected. And then you got Donald Trump who's saying that he stole the election. And Ben Carson is not going to let it go. There are a lot of people who are wondering, was it a dirty trick? I mean, you've been around politics for a while. Was it a dirty trick?
Listen, you know what I'm focused on? I'm focused on New Hampshire in 5 days, and it's kind of amazing to me that people are still talking about an election that's already been decided. It's over. Ted Cruz won the election. Donald Trump lost it. Marco Rubio came in his expected third. There's nothing that happened in Iowa that's changed this race one bit. So the folks in New Hampshire really don't care about what happened in Iowa, and they're moving on to their own election on next Tuesday.
Well, I tell you what, Governor, I live in New Jersey, as you know, and I was at two places yesterday, and it's the only thing they wanted to talk about. What's going on with Trump and Cruz and Carson?
Well, sure, because you guys are all talking about it. So they're talking about what you're talking about. I don't see the problem. I don't see the issue. The fact is that the votes were counted, and that was that. And if anybody thinks that thousands of votes were changed in that direction one way or the other, and that all those votes went to Ted Cruz by some miracle, you know, I just think that's someone who's never been involved in elections before.
Governor, you don't think it's a dirty trick when somebody from a campaign shoots something out and says, even though they should have known that Dr. Carson had not dropped out, tell everybody that Dr. Ben Carson has dropped out and they should come to us?
Listen, I wouldn't have done it. But the election is over, Steve. What else do you want me to say? I wouldn't have done it, but the election is over. And I know you guys would like to have a do-over for Donald Trump, but we're not going to get one.
Governors,
no.
So
it's what a number of candidates
you've got your eyes on New Hampshire. It seems Marco Rubio has been walking around with a target on his back ever since the third-place finish in Iowa. You are engaging in a fight with Rubio. What is your goal? What's your tactic there?
Listen, it's just to make clear to the people of New Hampshire that no one, not even Marco Rubio's supporters, can name one accomplishment he has in his entire career. I mean, the guy has sat in the United States Senate for 5 years and doesn't have one major accomplishment. His only major effort was for an amnesty bill for immigration, which as soon as it got too hot on that bill, he ran away from John McCain and others who he sponsored the bill with.
Well, he has one major accomplishment we can note right now is that a third-place finish, a strong finish in the state of Iowa. So why do you think the race in New Hampshire is between you and Marco Rubio?
Because I think we're the two folks who people are going to be focusing on in these last 5 days. And they're the best contrast, because what I've done is accomplish things as governor of New Jersey, faced crises like Hurricane Sandy, faced crises like balancing a completely out-of-line budget and doing so without raising taxes and vetoing more tax increases than any governor in American history. And all Marco Rubio has done in his career is to author a bill that gives amnesty to illegal immigrants and then to run away from it as soon as the heat got too heavy for him. This isn't the most controlled candidate we've seen in this race at all. His handlers handle him all the time. He's been giving the same speech for 6 years, and we need to take him out of that controlled atmosphere, because believe me, it won't be controlled against Hillary Clinton this fall.
I know you're going to have a debate on the weekend, an opportunity to do that with a smaller field than ever before. Although Cauley Fiorina is looking to be included, it could be as little as 7 people on the stage, which would give everybody an additional opportunity. But on the stage last night in a mini forum, I guess you would call it, was Hillary Clinton, at which time she seemed to be on her heels. When you look at Hillary Clinton as a potential opponent, where do you think she's most vulnerable? Yesterday she was trying to fight off attacks from the left. You wouldn't be coming from the left.
No. Where she's most vulnerable, she would be a third term of Barack Obama first. She's fully embraced all of his policies and said she's going to be a third Barack Obama term. I don't think that's what the American people want. She's also got her own problems with this email issue, which, quite frankly, it appears to me that she broke the law. And so there are going to be lots of things to talk about with Hillary Clinton, her failed foreign policy as Secretary of State, her embracing of Barack Obama's policies, which have not worked for the economy, where it only grew 0.7% last quarter, and her own lying to the American people, saying she had no classified information on her private email server. Turns out she had so much of it, and that some of it is so secret that it can't even be released today. She's got a raft of problems, and believe me, she's going to look back at her fight with Bernie Sanders as the good old days.
I'm sure that you've been tracking this investigation the best you can while still trying to become the nominee on the right. Having said that, with your with your background in prosecution, where are we at in this investigation? How much more has to be done? How much more time does the FBI need to make a decision?
Well, these investigations take a long time. I did it for 7 years. We did 130 political corruption indictments and convictions without a defeat. You are very careful in these investigations. They're very loaded with paper, and given that she tried to wipe her email server clean, they're absolutely having to rebuild it. So the FBI, I'm sure, and this FBI director will not take his time on this. But remember, in the end, this is Loretta Lynch's decision, the Attorney General. Sure. The FBI can only make a recommendation.
Governor, before you go, prediction for next Tuesday.
Prediction for next Tuesday is we're going to do extraordinarily well here in New Hampshire, and then we're going to be moving right on to South Carolina and looking to bring this battle right to Cleveland.
So when you say extraordinarily well, top 3?
We'll see.
Right.
We will see.
Right.
Governor, one thing is real clear, real quick. You do not need a script. I watched it. I watched you say goodbye to the people of Iowa, and here's my first selfie with the selfie poll. This could go onto your website. How was it for you?
It was fabulous.
All right. You're a good sport, Governor. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today from Keene, New Hampshire. All right.